So we are here in TDG headquarters to discuss a little bit about monitoring systems of structures and response before and after an earthquake. We are here with the founder and the technological director. Thank you so much for having us here. And we would like to know some things. The first one is, could you define us what is a structural monitoring system?
Yes, sure. It is a rather very new technology all over the world. It is with the help of the sensors, you monitor the damage and the risk condition of the structures in real time. The technology, the innovative part, you monitor them with ultra-high sensitive accelerometers, I can say. And you can decide the risk status of the building in a matter of minutes if you have an earthquake, for example.
Okay, so with these kind of systems you can analyze the behavior of a structure during its lifetime or before and after the earthquake occurs. How can you assess the damage? If it occurs damage, how can you assess it?
Okay. Yes, the idea is to monitor the structure during its lifetime. So it's better to place these sensors as early as possible during the lifetime of the structure. So once we install the accelerometers, we determine certain parameters which are called the dynamic characteristics of the structure, namely the natural frequencies, damping ratios and mode shapes. Then we start to monitor these parameters. So of course the natural frequencies are related to the rigidity of the structure, the stiffness of the structure. So obviously if there is some change during the lifetime and especially after an earthquake, that will show us that the structure might be subject to structural damage.
Also, we should add that this before and after comparison is important, just before the earthquake and just after the earthquake. But also we record the time of the earthquake, the accelerations and the drift, the displacements of the floors. So regarding to the interstory drift ratios, also you can say something about the structure. So we combine all of them, the natural frequencies, changes in the natural dynamic parameters, plus the drift ratios give us the risk status in a very short time. You can record this.
And when something bad happens, like a damage, there's an alarm that is triggered.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct. The alarm is triggered immediately. You can get also SMS messages and email warnings. Also, you may have a local alarm in the building. But more important thing is that you have the people are in panic, for example, after an earthquake. But if you can say that the structure is safe, they can go to their home earlier and return. They will not be outside. It is very critical in managing the crisis time of the earthquake.
And how can the city management use this technology to help people and to assess what to do?
Yeah. So the first thing is about prioritization. After an earthquake, like Mr. Saad said, there is a big chaos. So and the time is very limited. So if these systems are installed in a well-organized way in a city, for example, then these city managers can immediately have some idea. You can think of it as a red, green, or yellow lights for each structure or for each region. So they will know which is the priority and which place to go first, to attend first. So that this will save a lot of time and probably lives after a major earthquake.
We even have an article on that. It is called Urban Scale Disaster Management. You have a map, and with this technological support, because you can take data not only from the buildings only, but also the critical pathways, hospitals, so you can manage your crisis in this first 48 hours so critical after an earthquake. You make the disaster management in a technological way, looking on a map.
will be very useful,
Yes.
I think. In Turkey, it is mandatory to have base isolation systems in hospitals that are over 100 beds and in high seismic zones. It's also mandatory to have a monitoring system along with that. Can you discuss a little bit about this?
Since year 2013, it is mandatory in Turkey, as you said, to put base isolations to hospitals with beds, with more than 100 beds, and in severe earthquake regions. Now many hospitals have base isolations, city hospitals, big hospitals, and as you said, it is mandatory to put, if you have a base isolator, you also have to put a structural health monitoring system to the hospital. And why?
Yes.
Well, maybe explain better.
Yeah. So because it's a rather new technology, and also it's crucial to know how the base isolation system behaved during the earthquake, whether it worked or whether it just behaved like a rigid column or a rigid structure. So also by following the same logic that we have just discussed, we can also quickly assess if there is any structural damage on the structure or not by comparing the pre-earthquake data and post-earthquake data. But most importantly, these monitoring system shows us how the base isolation system worked, or even whether it worked or not during the earthquake.
Okay, wonderful. So, in summary, what you do, you check the health of the hospital in order for the hospital to check the health of the people.
Sure, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.